All right, what do you have for me today, D?
Check these out.
Acne Studios. This was really highly requested. This definitely was not cheap. All right, we have a faded black t-shirt here. $410 Canadian, 310 US. This is really nice fabric. Seems to be a relaxed fit. Heavyweight single jersey knit. In terms of like shirts we've reviewed on this show, even like fabrics, this is one of the nicest fabrics so far. There's a Acne Studios brand mark on the back. One thing I can notice here, this logo was sewn on, skewed, because you can see little puncture holes here for the stitch, and then removed and then replaced. I would say just from a manufacturing standpoint, like this is probably the worst place to try to put a logo and keep it square. There's just not a lot of close points of measure to ensure that it's going to be straight. Most times people won't notice, but if you are a brand, try to avoid placing something in the middle of nowhere on a shirt. So you're gonna see a different finish on the outside and the inside. What I'm gonna say is happening here is this was the original fabric and it's black, and then they chemical washed this. So let me get some samples and let me show you guys what I mean. When it comes to chemical washing garments, you're gonna hear terms called mineral washing, acid washing. These are all different types of chemicals you're gonna use to change the aesthetic of a shirt. So when I see this and it's being white here, there's two primary chemicals you'll usually use when chemical washing. You're gonna be using chlorine bleach, sodium hypochlorite, or potassium permanganate. So what's gonna happen is you're actually gonna choose which one you're gonna use because they're gonna give different effects. So the chlorine bleach is going to give the effect of actually removing the color. So if you go down the chlorine bleach route, it's actually going to go down the route of chemically changing the molecular structure of the chromophores. It's going to give the effect of basically removing the color and removing its ability to absorb this specific wavelength of light, which gives this faded look. And you'll see it's really white here. This is a shirt we did for one of our clients, and you'll see it's kind of like a white mineral wash as well. And then you have the potassium permanganate route, which is going to give this reddish color. The potassium permanganate is actually going to be reacting with the dyes in the fabric and degrading them. So this is going to give it more of like a vintage, worn out kind of aesthetic, and it's actually great in terms of achieving a specific aesthetic on denim as well. So you're probably asking why this one in particular looks so different, and that's because they achieved the soft hand feel by brushing the fabric ahead of time. So you're breaking those fibers, you're getting those fibers to stand up to give this nice hand feel. What I believe they're doing here, because it's so even, they're probably actually spraying on the chemical before putting it through the agitation process. That's what's going to give you this very even aesthetic. And because those fibers are standing up, there is a lot more surface area for the dyes to actually be removed from, which is going to give this kind of whitish aesthetic. You can tell that they're doing this because it's so even on the front. And let me flip this on the inside out. You get some of it coming on the inside. That's because after you apply the chemicals, you're gonna put them almost like in a tumble dryer to agitate it before rinsing out the chemicals. So along any openings, you're gonna see some of that going on the inside, which is why it leads me to believe it was sprayed on beforehand because it's so even. Other aesthetics where you see it's a lot more kind of splotchy and random, the removal of the dyes, you're actually using sponges that are soaked with these chemicals and you're tumbling in that to get this effect. And you'll see it over here too. This fabric has been brushed, this fabric hasn't been brushed. And you'll see the reddish tone in this is a lot more noticeable than the reddish tone in this. So there's a little mini course on 2 methods of achieving this kind of aesthetic on a cotton shirt. Let's dive into the rest of the shirt and look at the construction now. Looking at the seams, I would say everything's finished pretty cleanly. Even if you look at it, everything's very even. So sometimes you'll actually have one piece of neck ribbing and then you'll just slit it on one side. What they've done here is they've actually balanced it. So you have 2 pieces of neck ribbing that are joined, so it's balanced in the back of the neck. They have some neck tape here, the Acne Studios branding on a woven label. You have a RFID on your hang tag. Overall, I would say the construction of this garment's pretty good. We've looked at the construction of the shirt. Next steps, it's gonna hurt a little bit because I think I really like this shirt from Acne Studios, but let's cut it up. I'm gonna show you all the pattern pieces you need to make this garment. Here's all the components you need to make this shirt. You have your sleeve panels, your back panel, your front panel, you have your neck ribbing, as well as all your branding elements. Now that we know all the components you need to make this garment, let's take a look and see what the GSM is, and let's figure out what this costs to make. $259 GSM. All right, so let's recap. This Acne Studio shirt is made from 100% organic cotton. It is made in Portugal. It is 260 GSM, single jersey knit. It's a black base, and it's been brushed on the outside, and then it's been chemically washed to achieve this look. This one's gonna be a little hard to price because this is definitely not an easy shirt to make. It's not a cheap shirt to make, and you're probably not making the kind of volume that, let's say, a Zara is making. I would say this would cost around $20 to $25 to make this shirt in Portugal. Is it worth $310 US or $410 Canadian? This is not something you're just gonna be able to get from every brand. The amount of development time and the amount of expertise you need to actually create a product like this, not all brands are gonna have the capacity to do it. I would say this is expensive for a t-shirt, but is the product really good? I think so. If I view this as more of an art piece, something I'm gonna cherish in my wardrobe, this is something I'd be willing to invest in. This is not something you're gonna have multiple shirts of in your wardrobe, but you're definitely getting quality for the price you pay. Whether or not that price is worth it to you, you'll have to be the judge. If you want more of this content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Joe. This is what it costs.